Hi Capricorn, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of December. It is the final month of the year in this crazy time, and today is December 1st. I'm a little behind on my videos because we are in eclipse season, and it can be very hectic and chaotic, and eclipses are a very pressured time, a lot of activity in a short period of time. They happen every 6 months, and it's like a new moon and a full moon on steroids, and it can bring a lot of change in a very short period of time. Huge pivots, moves, loss, major beginnings, and bringing things to light. Sometimes eclipses can uncover things that we had no idea of and make us see things in a whole other way, or something has been boiling and we finally have to deal with it and something comes up. But eclipses want us to wake up and raise our consciousness. And this has been crazy eclipse season because we had the longest eclipse, partial lunar eclipse, on November 19th at 27 degrees and 14 minutes of the fixed earth sign of Taurus in your house of romance, creativity, love affairs, and self-expression. And this full moon eclipse, it was a partial lunar eclipse, but it was almost a total lunar eclipse, and the longest in 1,000 years. Huge. And in Scorpio season, I saw a lot of loss, a lot of endings right around the week of November 19th in specific. A lot. And heavy energy. And eclipses always come in pairs, so we're about to have a total solar eclipse in Sagittarius on December 3rd or December 4th, depending on your time zone, and that also going to bring in a lot of crazy energy. Neptune, which is the planet of imagination, creativity, dreams, as well as escapism and delusion and illusion, stations direct today on December 1st, 2021. Had to remember what the year is. And it occurred at 8:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We felt that build up the last 5 days of November, and the first 5 days of the month of December we will feel this energy looming, and it can make you feel very spaced out and directionless and depressed, but it's another outer planet stationing direct, and that is a good thing. And for you, Neptune is transiting in your house of communication and information. Excuse me. So if you were taking short distance trips recently or traveling, it might have been a bit crazed in the last couple of days, but it also could be confusing in terms of thinking or communication. But once it stations direct, you will have more clarity, and actually it could be very creative. But it is really very foggy right now, and it's going to be a busy month. The big part of it for you, aside from the eclipse coming up and things that I'm going to dive into, the big story is that Venus is going to be in your sign for a total of 4 months. It entered on November 5th, and it will be there until March 6th of 2022. And it retrogrades on December 19th at 26 degrees and 29 minutes of your sign. And this sets off for Pluto, which is the cosmic compost. Pluto station retrograde in April at 26 degrees of Capricorn. And that is a sign that requires that we eliminate things that no longer serve us and transform and empower ourselves, but it can be very heavy. Now you were in a major cycle for a few years with Saturn and Pluto meeting up in January of 2020. That was the huge conjunction that brought down the structures of our world, and we're now in the new age of Aquarius, building with that energy. And for you, Saturn and Jupiter have been transiting in your house of income and money and what you value. But with Venus retrograde, and it's going to meet up with Pluto 3 times, 2 times in December and on March 2nd before it exits your sign. This allows you an opportunity to reevaluate how you worked with the energy when Saturn, which rules your sign, was in Capricorn from December 20th of 2017 until December 17th of 2020. And Venus is setting off where Saturn was exactly from December of 2018, because when Venus does station direct, it's going to station on January 29th at 11 degrees and 4 minutes of the cardinal earth sign of Capricorn. And that's where Saturn was in December of 2018. It's retrograding at 26 degrees of Capricorn, and that is where Saturn was from March 4th of 2020 until November 4th of 2020. So it's giving you an opportunity to work with the energy, to rebuild your structures. And if there were things you didn't have an opportunity to do when Saturn was in your sign, because it won't be in Capricorn for another, I don't know, 26 years approximately. I'm not looking right now, but it's going to be a while. And because it is the ruler of your sign, Venus retrograde will be retrograding in your house of self and immediate atmosphere. Old lovers and relationships could resurface, maybe old ways of doing business. Maybe you're connecting with old coworkers or hearing from old clients. And Venus rules your house of career and life goals. And it's a great opportunity to reassess your business and how to get things done. You're in a big money cycle. Jupiter is in your house of income and money until December 28th. Saturn, which rules your sign, is going to be there until March 7th of 2023. And you're anchoring your goals, working hard for a living, trying to get things going, and also solidifying your values. Maybe you have changed your perspective on things in the past few years. A lot of change. You endured so much change. This sign, I think you really got slammed in the last few years. And Venus retrograde may be a painful cycle in some regards. It might bring up the distant past, and especially because it is going to meet up with Pluto 3 times. But we are in uncharted time and very sad time, so that's realistic that we're all mourning a lot of loss. And so let me dive in when I have clarity with this Neptune station. So on December 1st, Neptune stations direct at 8:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 20 degrees and 24 minutes of the mutable water sign of Pisces. And we felt that build up the last 5 days of November and the first 5 days of, and it can uncover deception. It can also be where people feel really just directionless and depressed and tired. You can feel very sleepy, but you can also feel like it's hard to, you just feel tired all the time, fatigued and drained. And, you know, just knowing that that'll start to clear, but we're also in eclipse season where so much has been happening. So it's just been hectic to keep up. And so that begins the month, and we're all feeling the Neptune haze. And on December 3rd at 11:43 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on December 4th at 2:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there is a total solar eclipse at 12 degrees and 22 minutes of the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius. And that's like a new moon on steroids. And the new moon or the new moon eclipse is always a time to set intentions, write down what you want to manifest, and do the law of abundance. And for you, this new moon eclipse is occurring in your house of dreams and imagination. And we begin the month in Sagittarius season with the Sun and Mercury both transiting in the mutable fire sign of Sag. And this is a time to do healing work, to delve into your creativity, to get rest, and to restore. And this eclipse is going to be huge. For you, it's falling in the house of endings. There might be things that you're letting go of, maybe relationships or circumstances that are ending in your life. And, you know, the lunar eclipse that occurred in November was on November 19th. There was a partial lunar eclipse that fell at 27 degrees days and 14 minutes of your sign in your house of romance and love affairs. And that could have brought endings with relationships, also could have brought completion of projects you've been working on. Hopefully that was what it was, but I saw so much loss at that time. And now we are, you're dealing with another eclipse that is in your house of endings. And with Venus retrograde, relationships are a very big focus for all of us. It's not retrograde yet, but it almost is. It's certainly already in its shadow as of the 17th of November. It's a time that, will bring up a lot of things that might be buried in your psyche or in some regard. And on the 6th of December, Mars, which is transiting in Scorpio, in your house of friends and groups and networking, forms a helpful sextile to Neptune. And that could be Pluto, rather. And Pluto's transiting in your sign. That could be really good for networking and getting things going. It's very empowering energy. On the 7th of December, Mercury squares Neptune at 10:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that could bring deception or confusion. Perhaps you get some information that you didn't know something about, could be a little bit confusing. It's good for doing manifesting work and working with your dreams. On December 7th, later in the day, Mars squares Jupiter at 10:21 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on December 8th at 1:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that can just be excessive energy, getting a lot done, probably a lot of networking, not necessarily a bad thing. On December 11th, that's heavy energy. Venus meets up with Pluto at 11:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the first of 3 showdowns with Venus and Pluto. That's like Catherine and Heathcliff energy. It's very passionate and stormy, but also can be very destructive and emotionally intense. Pardon me, there could definitely be breakups on that date. If you're really trying to do healing work in relationships and being honest about what's happening, if there are issues arising in the eclipses, it could be good for digging into solving problems, not in facing the pain, but not easy energy. And Mercury forms a helpful sextile to Jupiter at 2:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That could bring some positive energy in it, but I do feel that's going to be a very intense day because the Sun squares Neptune at 10:21 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on December 12th at 1:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that could dissolve relationships and things as well. A lot of heavy energy on the 11th. On the 13th of December, more energy, and it's a more optimistic day, I think. Mars, which is the planet of action and ambition, enters the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius, where it will be until January 25th. And that's about seeking adventure and learning and promoting and teaching. For you, it's transiting in your house of dreams, so really working with the dream. It's a great time to do spiritual practice. Maybe you're doing meditation or yoga or doing work with crystals or Reiki, something that could be healing. Maybe you're doing therapy, something good for you to balance you. And let's see, on that same date, Mercury, which is the planet of communication, enters the cardinal Earth sign of Capricorn at 12:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will be there until January 2nd in your first house of self and new beginnings. You've got Venus for 4 full months in its entirety, so that's a big deal. Now you've got another personal planet. Mercury is going to enter Aquarius on January 2nd and transit in your house of income and money and what you value. But then it's going to retrograde in the middle of January and then re-enter the late degrees of Capricorn at the end of January and basically set off where Venus is at this time. And then it's going to re-enter Aquarius on February 14th. So as you begin 2022, you've got both Mercury and Venus. While Mercury will initially be in Aquarius, but then it's going to be retrograde at the late degrees of your sign. So again, giving you an opportunity to reassess if there were things you wanted to do when Saturn was in your sign from December of 2017 through 2020, and when Saturn and Pluto met up for that historical conjunction that changed the world. So in a sense, it's actually going to be positive for you for reconsidering things and getting things done. You're such a goal-oriented sign, and you've got great survival instincts, and so this will be helpful, I think, ultimately. On December 18th, there's a full moon that occurs at 11:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 27 degrees and 29 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini. And this full moon occurs on the date that Mercury squares Chiron, the wounded healer. And that will be a very emotional day. It's the day before Venus retrogrades. And this full moon occurs in your house of work and habits and daily routine. Hopefully it brings fruition to your projects. Could bring some endings or issues at the workplace, but also could bring completion. And on the following day, on December 19th, Venus stations retrograde at 5:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 26 degrees and 29 minutes of your sign. It's going to retrograde, well, it'll be retrograde rather, until January 29th, when it stations direct at 11 degrees and 4 minutes, and then it exits your sign altogether on March 6th of next year. So we've got Venus retrograde, and that's going to be intense for all of us. Each of us is going to be evaluating our relationships, our values, our finances. And again, Venus rules your house of life goals, life direction, career, and what you want to accomplish in this world. And on that same date, Chiron, which is the wounded healer, stations direct at 11:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 8 degrees and 26 minutes of the cardinal fire sign of Aries. And that also pronounces the wounds, but realistically this is happening because we all need to heal. This has been such a painful time. And it also sets off where Jupiter's going to be next year. Jupiter's going to transit in Pisces at the end of this month, where it's in its dignity, transiting in your house of communication and learning and marketing and sales and teaching. But then it's going to enter Aries on May 10th, and it will be there until October 28th, and then it will re-enter Aries on December 20th. So it's going back and forth from your third house of communication and learning and networking, and your house of home, family, and emotional foundation. Chiron has been transiting in your house of home and family and foundation since the spring of 2019. And that also can pronounce the loss and the wounds that each of us is feeling, but also giving you the courage to heal. And we need to find that courage right now. On December 20th, Mercury, which is transiting your sign, forms an innovative aspect to Uranus at 3:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It makes what's known as a trine. It's a very positive energy that could be good for networking. It could be good for meeting people unexpectedly, for romantic opportunities, excellent for creative projects for you, and just inventive thinking. On December 21st, we have the winter solstice, and we begin Capricorn season, and the sun enters your sign at 10:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will be there until January 19th. And it's transiting in your house of self and new beginnings. This is your solar return, giving you more energy. Now you have the sun, Mercury, and Venus all transiting in your sign. A lot of focus on you. You're going to be attracting a lot of energy with Venus transiting in your sign for so many months. and that is a big deal. You'll be attracting people in many different regards, and so that's happening. And then on December 24th, Saturn and Uranus form a square at 2:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturn rules your sign, but it also rules Aquarius in ancient astrology, and that's where it's transiting. And it squares Uranus, which is the planet of brilliance and innovation. And Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So the two rulers of Aquarius, and Saturn also rules your sign. Well, Saturn is rigid and it's about restrictions. Uranus is chaotic and it's about brilliance and innovation. They don't blend very well. So it's a learning curve for all of us about, morphing into the new age of Aquarius, which is very unpredictable and disruptive, but brilliant and futuristic. And so there'll be a hectic energy that day. And for you, it could be issues maybe around finances or worrying about money, but I think it's more than that. It's just a hectic energy for all. And on December 25th, Mars, which is the planet of action, forms a helpful trine to Chiron, the wounded healer. And that brings helpful healing energy. But Venus and Pluto meet up at 7:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the second showdown. And that, again, can be very emotionally intense energy. It can bring endings, and many people will not be with us, obviously. Many loved ones rather, during this holiday season, and it's very painful. So Venus and Pluto meeting up 3 times is not that surprising, actually. And so just know that people are going to be very emotionally charged. Use this energy to transform and to heal. And I know that's not easy, and I'm not being Pollyannic, but realistically, it's about, with the Aquarian age, it's about building community. And hopefully, because it feels very alienating with all the technology and isolation and distancing we've all been doing for so long in different ways, and it continues to be a frightening time, that try to really empower yourself and try to transform as much as you're able. On December 26th, Mercury forms a helpful sextile to Neptune at 4:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's an excellent day for you for networking, pitching ideas. On December 28th, Jupiter, which is the luckiest planet and represents opportunity and expansion and higher learning, enters the mutable water sign of Pisces, where it's in its dignity by ancient astrology, and it's going to be transiting in your house of communication, teaching, learning, local community, and travel. And it'll be there again May 10th, and then it'll tour in Aries until October 28th in your house of home, family, and emotional foundation. And then it re-enters Pisces on October 28th until December 20th, when it re-enters Aries and in your house of home. And this is about learning and teaching, and again, building community, getting involved in your local community, and finding comfort within when Jupiter transits in your 4th house of home and family. And on December 29th, Mercury and Venus meet up at 5:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in your sign, and that is especially intense because Venus is retrograde. It's setting off the Pluto's energy, and on the following day, Mercury and Pluto meet up at 4:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 30th, and that can also be very emotionally intense. There can be power struggles, there can be triangles, but it also can be excellent for doing research and getting to the bottom of things. On December 30th, the moon enters the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius at 6:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be there until January 1st, when it goes void of course at 3:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with a square to Neptune. And to me, this embodies the fact that we're all feeling very hopeless and directionless, and it's a very uncertain time. Yet Jupiter will be newly in the sign of Pisces, which is expanding through the imagination, suspension of disbelief, love, empathy, and not giving up on your dream. And so my feeling is that this is such a difficult time, but I think Jupiter in Pisces will bring back the imagination. There have been some incredibly imaginative things that have occurred in this last year, and people have been incredibly inventive, but I think the alienation is hitting all of us in a really big way. And I think for you, you're going to find you're getting more involved in your local community and networking more with people and communing more with people. So I wish you a lot of luck, Capricorn. It will be your birthday season pretty soon, and happy birthday, happy new year, and hang in there, because Venus is going to be giving you a ride. Take care.